this video is about entering properties into Command so that they can be submitted to our Market Center for compliance review and also so that eventually our agents can get paid. So it's a very important part of the process. So I'll jump right in. In order to get started, you're going to have to use two different systems. You're going to have DotLoop, which is going to be where all of the documents are housed currently, and then there's going to be the command system that we're putting them into. So to get started, we're going to log into DotLoop, and then we are also going to log into Command. We have a specific login that you're going to be using for creating the opportunities, as Command calls them, and getting everything uploaded. So here we go. So this is what it looks like once you log in. And then we've got DotLoop over here. So the property that we're going to work on first, or that this video we're going to use, it is 52 Dustin Homestead. So you're going to start by pulling up the property in DotLoop. And as you can see, all the documents are in here. So then we are going to go over to Command. So the first place, to be entirely honest, Command is not always the most intuitive system. So one thing to try and remember that I frequently forget is, so you've got these icons over here. This is for opportunities, but when you first create an opportunity, it's going to require you to tie a person to it. We do not store our contacts or our database in Command, and I don't intend to do that anytime soon. So anytime we create an opportunity, we first have to create a contact to tie to the opportunity. Unfortunately, once you start creating the opportunity, you can't go back, or there's no way to create the contact within the opportunity. So you have to remember to do that first on its own. So contacts is this little icon right here. You can click Add Contact. And in this case, we need to add the buyer. So here you can see buyer is Lindsay Letourneau. Another place you can look at is the buyer agreement, which is abbreviated BA. And you can see right here that Lindsay Letourneau is the buyer. Sometimes there will be multiple buyers. We only need one for the purposes of entering it into Command. So here we're going to add Lindsay's name. And fortunately, we don't have to add any additional information in order to save it. So we are not entering email, we're not entering phone or anything. We are literally just putting in a name, and that's because we have to. And so I have done that now. And now we're going to go to opportunities. And I actually have to double check and make sure. So we are seeing her there. And the owner is Zola Realty Group. Okay, so you have to make sure that the owner is Zola Realty Group on the contact, because otherwise we won't be able to add it to an opportunity. So we've got the Zola Realty Group opportunities here. And now that we've added a person, we're going to go in and hit Create Opportunity. And this screen comes up. So Market Center is always going to stay Portsmouth. The team is always going to stay Zola Realty Group. Opportunity type is going to be listing or buyer. So in this case, we have a buyer. You'll be able to see that, from the loop, from the documents that are signed. Is it a listing or is it a buyer transaction? So this one is a buyer. Owner doesn't actually matter, so you can leave it at whatever the default is. The options are either me or Mark. I think most of them are created under me because I'm the default for some reason. So owner can stay there. Client is going to be where we have to put in Lindsay, who we just added, or whoever the client is that we just added. Co-buyer, you can put in multiple, but it's not required, so we don't. Again, the only reason we use Command is because we have to get paid. So we tend to put in the least amount of information that we can and still get our agents paid. So opportunity name, what we do here is we use basically the same way that we have the loop named in DotLoop. So we do the property address and then the buyer's last name or the seller's last name. So this is 52 Dustin Homestead, Rochester, New Hampshire. Okay, so that's how we name them. And then this stuff isn't required. That being said, so estimated close date right here, we can just put in whatever the close date is, and we're going to get that off of the contract. So I'm going to pull up the contract right here. Close date is 6/15. This is not required, but you can put it, you're going to have to put it in eventually. So we can put in the 6/15 there. Commission rate is going to be whatever the commission for that transaction is. So from that, you will look, there's two forms you'll need. You'll need the under contract form that's in the loop, and you'll need the MLS sheet. So we can open those up. And I'm gonna scroll down because I need to look at this one first. So this under contract form tells you what the commission is gonna be. So you scroll down to that question, what will the commission be on this transaction? And this tells us that it's gonna be whatever is offered in MLS. So we're gonna go, let me look at those other ones, sorry. Okay, so this tells you it'll be whatever's offered in MLS on this one. If it says buyer agreement fee, you're gonna go look at the buyer agreement and see what the commission is listed on the buyer agreement. So those are really your two options. Sometimes they might have other, and they can type whatever they want in there, so I really can't say what that might say, but this will be where you find out what the commission is gonna be. So this one says MLS, so now we go to the MLS sheet, and what is being offered is on the third page, typically, of the MLS sheet, or towards the bottom of the MLS sheet if they did a one-page version. So you can see right here, for buyer agency, 2.5% is being offered. So we're gonna go back over to command. The commission rate is 2.5. And then this, we're gonna change right after we save it anyways. I usually put it at active and signed buyer. And then assignees, again, you can just leave at the default because Mark and I can see everything automatically since we're the team owners. So you're gonna hit create, and it brings you to this. So now the opportunity has been officially created. Once you've created it, there's a couple things that you need to edit right away. So we're gonna hit this edit pencil right here. I don't know why it says unknown for Market Center because we did put that in as Portsmouth, so that I'm not sure about. It used to say Portsmouth there, but that's another thing about command is things break a lot. So I don't think too much about it when something is different, but if you ever have a question about something, let me know. So we're gonna go down here and we're gonna update the opportunity phase, and we wanna switch that to under contract right away. The reason for this is the office would love to see these opportunities put in earlier, but on our team, again, because we are only doing this because we have to and to get paid, we don't enter the opportunities until after we're already through inspections because I don't want anybody spending time on a task for a property that's going to fall through. So by the time we enter our opportunities, they're already under contract. So you're going to do under contract there. The other two fields, they are not marked as required, but we need them. So this is where you're going to put in the contract date and the close date. So for that, we're going to go back to DotLoop, and we're going to go back to the purchase and sale. And this is going to be the contract date, whatever the effective date is, so 5/23 on this one, and the close date is right here, transfer of title. So we are going to put in the contract date of 5/23 and the close date of 6/15. This is redundant. I don't know why there's a close date and an estimated close date, but they're both used in different parts of the opportunity, so both pieces of information are needed. So you're gonna make those updates and then you click save. The other thing is you need to put in the property information. This will already be there for a listing just because of what happens when you create a listing, but for a buyer you have to manually enter it. So United States of America, you're gonna put in the street address, and it autofills. If it finds it, it autofills for you. If it can't find it for whatever reason, like it's a new construction property, it will prompt you to enter the address information. So here we're going to hit save, and you can see that the property is now populated. So that is all for that part. Now we're going to skip over to the documents. We don't do anything with the buyer profile tab. So we're going to skip over to documents. The first thing you have to do here is pick a checklist type, and this is going to tell you what documents you need to get uploaded. So under checklist type, these are your options. Obviously, it's only showing you the buyer options because when we created the opportunity, we told it that this was a buyer. So you have New Hampshire or Maine buyer checklist. This particular one is New Hampshire. So we're going to check that. And then you can see we now have folders over here, consultation, under contract, and closed. And to each of these folders is where we're going to add the documents. So back over here in DotLoop, so one phase or one part of this process that we're going to learn in the future is also the compliance piece and organizing DotLoop. That part has already been done for now. So after compliance and DotLoop organization happens, this is what a loop looks like. So that's where we're going to go from on this video. So you can see this consultation folder is going to be where the buyers, like the buyer agency documents go. You can see right here, these are marked as required. So you've got brokerage relationships disclosure, exclusive buyer agency agreement, the audio video consent waiver, the wire fraud alert disclosure, and then the general disclosure. Those are required. Again, because we are only doing this because we have to, we typically only upload documents that are marked as required. So we are going to go in here to DotLoop. You can see right here, these are the buyer documents, and we're going to go in and you have to download them all individually. DotLoop does give you the ability to download things in bulk, but it downloads them as one PDF, and our Market Center requires all of the documents to be downloaded or to be uploaded individually. So you're going to go in, you're going to download those all automatically. The easiest way to do it is clicking this little three dots and selecting download. And then you can see here they all are on my computer. We use abbreviations. So AV is for audiovisual, WF is for wire fraud, GD is for general disclosure, BA is for buyer agreement, and BRD is brokerage relationships disclosure. So we have those downloaded, and now we're going to go back over here to command. Over here, you're going to click on attach multiple files, and then, you're going to click right here, browse your files, and select what you want to go into each placeholder. So buyer agreement goes with buyer agreement. Here's the audio video. Here is wire fraud. And here is the general disclosure. So now that those are all set up with their placeholders, you're going to click attach. And one thing to always double check is once you've hit attach, make sure that all of the documents you tried to upload actually attached. You can see right here, we tried to upload 5 and it has 5 uploaded. We have had situations where we do that and 1 or 2 of the documents doesn't actually upload for whatever reason. So then you have to redo that one. Just something to keep an eye on. It's one of those little quirks with command. So once you have the buyer documents all uploaded, this part's pretty easy. Now we're just going to hit submit. If it doesn't get submitted, the Market Center does not get an alert to review it. And if it doesn't get reviewed and approved, then our agent doesn't get paid. So the submitting part is very important. Once you've submitted the buyer document part, you're going to go to under contract. And unfortunately, this is not organized in the best way. You can see that the required ones in the buyer folder were grouped together and very clear to see. These ones are kind of all over the place. So part of this is going to be, I just know in my head what needs to be uploaded, and part of it is just scrolling through and seeing what's required. There is also a document that goes along with this that will mark what is required that I can share with you. So now we have to work on the under contract documents. For me personally, I've already downloaded these. I like to keep my downloads very clean, so I'm going to move those to trash. So anything that's going to be in my downloads is stuff that I need to upload now. So as far as things that are required to upload, if the property was in MLS, you should see an MLS sheet in the loop, and we have to upload that. So we're going to download that from DotLoop. The purchase and sale is always going to be required, so we're going to download that as well. Any earnest money checks, so here there was only one, that's going to have to be sent to the Market Center. PD stands for property disclosure. That is going to be sent to the Market Center. If there are any, like in this case, there's a property disclosure rider because it's a condo, that is required. Basically anything that the buyer had to sign is required. Sometimes there's a multifamily disclosure. Sometimes there are addendums. This is a pretty clean file, but those are things that would have to be sent to the Market Center. So that property disclosure rider. The office also does require the original deed, which is right here. And it also requires the property card on a buyer file. So that's right here. These are things that we have in our file. Because we wanted to provide them to our buyer and everything, but they are not required to be sent to the Market Center for us to get paid, so we are not going to worry about those. So that's what we need to download, and again, this kind of comes from experience, and you kind of learn what's required and what to upload and what to not. But for this particular file, that's all that's going to be required, so we've got that downloaded. Now we're going to go back over here to Command and do the same thing. So we have to attach multiple files. We're going to click here and attach the MLS sheet, and here the purchase and sale. These are addendums, which we don't have any on this transaction. If we had an addendum that had a significant change to the contract, like the close date or the close price, we would want to upload those. I don't even actually upload all of the addendums if they're just minor changes. Right here you can see at least there will always be at least one earnest money deposit, so at least that first one is required. Some properties will have multiple, in which case you'll upload those as well. Property disclosure right here, PD. This one is listed as conditional. It's a property disclosure rider. It is necessary in this case, so that's why it's conditional, because it would only be in cases of like condos, for instance. So we've got that attached. Multifamily would be required if it's a multifamily property. Lead-based paint is going to be required if the property was built prior to 1978. Dual agency is going to be required if our team has both the listing and the buyer side of the deal. Disclosure of personal interest is going to be required if a member of our team is either the buyer or seller or directly related to a buyer or seller. Waterfront site assessment isn't something we run into too often. Current deed right here is where we're going to put the original deed, and then the property card right here is where that's required. So you can see there's several other things that are optional or conditional. They actually might require us to upload the bylaws, so we're going to go grab that too. But for now, we've got those things all hooked up right here. So we're going to hit attach, give that a second to do its thing. And now we're going to jump back over here. We've got the bylaws right here, so we're just going to download those and attach them just to be safe. So, and while we're scrolling down to find that, we can just make sure everything saved the way we were expecting it to, and it looks like it did. So I've showed you how to attach multiple things at the same time, which is this button at the top, attach multiple files. You can also attach something to just one placeholder. So right here we've got the association documents. You can click add file right there and just attach one thing at a time that way as well. So it looks like everything else is all set. So now all of that is done. We're going to hit submit to MC again. So you can see right here that the status is in submitted. And once you've done that, so there are tasks for this in Brivity. So we can see right here, Dustin Homestead, upload buyer docs to Office. We did that, so we're going to check that off. And actually, we'll click into it. So we're in Dustin Homestead right now. We can see the tasks. We already checked off that we uploaded the buyer docs. You can see right there. We also uploaded the under contract docs. So we're going to check that off. Once those two things are checked off, I'm going to hit refresh so our task list refreshes. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? So there are two more tasks that are supposed to pop up after those have been done, which are submitting to the office. I'm not seeing the task to submit for some reason. That might be a Brivity issue, but usually there's two more tasks. Usually there's two more tasks that say, I apologize. Usually there's two more tasks that say submit to the Market Center, submit buyer docs to Market Center, submit contract docs to Market Center. I don't know where those tasks have gone. Let's look here. Failed to create. So I don't know why that failed to create. Let's hit retry. I'm not sure why those are failing to create. I might have to talk to Brivity. But anyways, those did not trigger, but normally those would trigger and you would want to check those off as well to confirm that they've been submitted. So that part has been done. My concern is there's two more tasks that trigger, and I'm wondering if those don't trigger either. So there's two more tasks after the docs have been submitted. There's these tasks. Yeah, so these aren't going to trigger now either. Normally, there's also these tasks so under contract docs approved and the buyer docs approved. These will then be triggered after you submit. And that is reminders to go into Command and make sure that the office has reviewed and approved the the opportunities. So you can see right now these are submitted. Once the office reviews them, this will either be changed to accepted or rejected. If it is changed to accepted, it will be green with a little check mark, and then you're good. It means everything that's required is there. Everything that's required is compliant. Our agent can get paid once it closes. If this is changed to rejected, they should have put in, you'll see what specific documents were rejected. You can see the status right here says uploaded. This would be changed to rejected. And there should be a note along with it telling you why it was rejected. When you see that, you would need to then go into Brivity and create a task for the transaction coordinator. So Rachel in this case. So you would create a task. It would be called compliance. It would be assigned to Rachel as the transaction coordinator with a high priority. It can stay hidden from viewers. Our clients don't need to see this, but then you're also going to add into the notes what is the issue. So why is there a compliance issue? And that is just going to be dependent on whatever the office puts in here. So if it was something like there was a missing initial on the purchase and sale or something like that, so you're going to put missing initial on purchase and sale, and then you would save the task, because then Rachel is going to have to follow up and get those docs fixed and compliant. There might be multiple things that are incorrect, and again, you would just list everything that's needed here. I'm going to hit cancel. Normally you would hit save so that Rachel gets that task. Excuse me. Let's see, I think that's pretty much everything for command. So once you've uploaded things, you're just going to be checking on a regular basis to see what their status is and make sure that they get approved. Setting the task if there's anything wrong with compliance. And compliance is, once we start working on the compliance and organization part of it, the more thorough that part is completed, the easier things will then later get through command. Because a lot of these things, a lot of times whatever's missing is something that could have been caught on an earlier thorough compliance review and taken care of before the docs were even uploaded. So that is everything for how you upload things to command and how you get them submitted. And if you have any questions on this, you can let me know.